Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. 2A Views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
I stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Deep state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. I drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slow tin, he took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trumpy dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trumpy Trump. Come on and do the Trumpy Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpy Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpy Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trumpy Trump. It's time to do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah.
That's right, folks. It's time to do the Trumpty Trump because, still winning.
Winning.
How was your weekend, my friend?
Not too shabby. I got to work unexpectedly Friday, so I missed you then. But other than that, did some radio over the weekend and had a good time.
Well, excellent. While you were missed, we had a good time here, nonetheless, without you. Celebrating the incarceration of one Mr. Don Lemon.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. That was a good story there. Now, did you cover the Fulton County ballots by chance?
Did not discuss the Fulton County ballots.
Okay, good. Because I was waiting for that one. I don't know what we're doing today, but
I don't have it covered today, but we definitely, that is one of the things we do definitely need to cover. And that was one of the ones that I wanted to lead, but I had another one that I wanted to lead the conversation today. Yeah, things are getting kind of hairy there in Georgia, man, in terms of
I'll just say this about that one, because I'm sure if we're going to discuss it, we'll discuss it at length, but because this was timely, this part of it. The big complaint from the left was, why is Kristi Noem there? She's got no jurisdiction there. She's the director of national intelligence. It's all foreign stuff she deals with. And I was like, hello, foreign election interference, you know?
You're talking, well, not Kristi Noem. You mean Tulsi Gabbard?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Tulsi
Yeah,
Gabbard.
that by the way, that seems to be a standard thing for Trump. It's like, in order to get appointed in the Trump administration, if you're a female in particular, you got to be a hot female.
Well, he does put women and minorities into all different places, and it's based on who's best for the job, not what DEI characteristic do they meet. With Tulsi there, but yeah, I mean, the outrage on that, I'm like, I mean, you guys, all you bitched about a couple of years ago was Russian collusion. And then so far everything's leaning towards, I'll just say this without any spoilers, right? Maduro.
Ooh,
because remember, him and Chavez created the company that caused election interference with the computerized polling.
It's all coming full circle, folks, and you're hearing it right here on the Rundown. We will be bringing more of that coverage to you.
Yep.
But before we do that, we're going to get into today's news coverage. And before we do even that, we're going to start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, visit these guys and girls. They got AR barrels of any caliber, rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform, as well as all different kind of barrels for all different kinds of firearms. So check them out at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best tactical concealed holsters on the market, in fact, we saw John, the owner there at SHOT Show, and a great guy to hang out with. So check out, if you want the best tactical concealed holsters, they got them. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, fire, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever they got it all. Get your group together, get your agency together. Place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor. Do them a favor. Do yourselves a favor. Visit their websites. We make it real simple for you. All you have to do is follow the links in the description of this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you're watching the show live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, just like our friends over at American Crossfire, well, then guess what? We're taking your comments. So go ahead, let us know what's up. Give us a shout out. Let us know what you think about the program. Let us know if you agree with us or even if you disagree with us. In fact, we love the disagreements the most because it gives us an opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow. Was that a mockingbird?
Man, in the mockingbird? Another mockingbird?
We will.
Love it.
We will. Mock
Love
you.
it. Mock you.
And by the way, we don't do it because we want to be mean. We literally do it because it's fun.
Yeah, and if you think that's mean, that's on you.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
We don't think we're being mean, so therefore we are not.
That's right. That's right. The mantra of a bully.
There you go. The mantra of a bully. I think it's okay to be an intellectual bully, though. Physical
Sure.
bully, bad. Intellectual bully, good.
It's give and take. We just give and they have to take.
Well, you see, here's the problem. The problem with social media nowadays is it makes people think that everyone's opinion is of equal value. And sometimes you just have to point out, no, it's not. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but not all opinions are of equal value.
Oh, that's for darn sure. It's for darn sure. Yeah, yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard fact. It's a hard truth, though, for many people, for some people to accept.
Unfortunately, the people that don't realize their opinions don't matter because they're, 1-star brains, they'll never get that.
They will never get it. I saw a meme one time. He says, well, I'll see if I can find the video. I'm not even going to get into it. But yeah, the problem with unintelligent people is that they do not know that they are unintelligent.
That's it. There you go.
I'll just leave it at that.
There you go.
All right, I wanted to talk about this particular subject because this is a landmark decision. Let me just tell you. So we have talked a lot on this program. And I think Mike and I have made it very clear. If you are a grown adult and you are dealing with gender dysphoria and you've gone through and you've looked through all of the facts and all of the information and you decide that you want to go through the process of living your life as a whatever gender you want to be, and you go through and you do all the medical procedures to try to make your body look like that gender, you have every right as an adult to do that. But that is not something that we ought to be doing with kids. That is not something that a decision that children ought to be making, especially in some cases as young as 12 years old. Well, this was a case where a 15-year-old decided that they wanted to start transitioning to become from female to male. And let's just say that by the time they were 19, they realized by the time they were 16, they had a mastectomy. By the time they were 19, they realized that they had made a mistake, by the time they started to become an adult. And so they filed a lawsuit against the doctors that were involved in basically pushing them through the process. Here's a report from the reporter over at the Free Press. And yeah, some people will tell you that the Free Press, or at least the left will tell you the Free Press is a conservative outlet. I find them to be a center left, but they're still, basically they report the news. And I think this was a phenomenal story because this is a reporter who actually followed this, named Benjamin Ryan, who actually followed this through the entire process.
A detransitioner was just awarded $2 million in damages in a civil suit in White Plains, New York, a verdict that could help reshape the legal landscape around youth gender medicine. Fox Varian's case is the first malpractice lawsuit brought by a detransitioner to ever go before a jury. The decision now looms over, by my count, nearly 30 similar civil cases working their way through the courts across the country. At just 15 years old, Fox Varian began socially transitioning, and then just under a year later, at age 16, 16, she underwent a double mastectomy, a permanent, irreversible procedure. Today, she is 22 and is one of a growing number of young people who made life-altering medical decisions as teenagers and now live with regret over the interventions they received. 3 years after her surgery, Varian chose to detransition. In 2023, she filed suit against her longtime psychologist, Kenneth Einhorn, and Dr. Simon Chin, the plastic surgeon who removed her breasts. As the only journalist to attend the entirety of the 3-week trial, I was in the courtroom on Friday when the jury delivered its decisive and historic verdict. This case marks a turning point. It signals a growing wave of detransitioners turning to the courts and could contribute to a reckoning over lax assessment standards by care providers when they consider whether irreversible medical interventions should be offered or given to minors with gender dysphoria. Read my full
So keep in mind, this is, once again, as he just noted, there are dozens of folks who are in the middle of lawsuits, and one of them I actually had a chance to talk with. They spoke before the Sacramento chapter of the California Republican Assembly, Chloe Cole. And the reason why I bring up Chloe Cole is this process started for Chloe at the age of 12. At the age of 12, they started to transition her. And what Chloe notes is that at no point anywhere in the process did anybody really stop to think and say, hey, maybe this is just someone who is young, who is not comfortable with their body. Evidently, according to her, she was early. She developed earlier than a lot of her friends and just really kind of felt uncomfortable, especially as a tomboy, because she was kind of a tomboy as a kid. And anyway, I think this is vitally important because even if it doesn't put laws in place that will actually keep them from doing this to kids, because I do want there to be laws to keep them from doing this to kids, to keep children from being able to make these decisions to transition, even with their parents' permission. But even if that doesn't happen, what you're going to start to see is doctors are going to start taking their Hippocratic oath seriously. These processes and these interviews and all of the analyses and all of the things that they're supposed to go through before they do this to somebody, they're actually going to start taking seriously as they start losing these lawsuits.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Craig, I know the reporter there said that this was going to have immediate impact on these other cases around the country. Now, this was a county court suit. This is Westchester County over there, which means much like criminal law, because it's a low level court. Those rulings only apply to that low level court. This is for the rest of the country, it's a persuasive decision as opposed to a binding decision. Binding decision coming from a higher court, appellate courts, or the criminal courts. This one can be used like when you see on the courtroom drama. They go, well, Your Honor, here's a ruling out of so and so. The judge can take that under advisement. Is when you hear them say that, because it's persuasive and not binding. So whereas it should be of somewhat impact, it's not going to be an automatic case to case decision.
Oh, you are number one. I'm sorry. You are 100% correct with that. What you may see here is a blueprint in terms of the arguments that are going to be made. And it it's real simple, because in many of these cases, and I'm not saying in all cases, there has been very, very little. I mean, the pressure on these physicians, the pressure on the psychologists, the pressure on parents is, look, this is a matter of life and death. If you don't let them transition, they're going to kill themselves. And so they don't do anything to try and say, well, maybe it isn't what you think it is. Maybe,
Agreed.
This,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Just the way the reporter gave the story and the way the title of the article made it sound like it was going to be a binding decision to every other lawsuit, and it's not.
Right. Well,
it's persuasive. It is persuasive. So.
It is definitely persuasive. And look, it's interesting though. So I found the story at the New York Times or New York Post. I'm sorry. I did not find it anywhere else in mainstream media. And I'm thinking because what they're hoping is that obviously the doctors are going to appeal, and then it's going to have to go to the appellate process. It's gonna be a while before, like you said, this has any real significant weight. But as he was noting, with several dozen cases going forward now, you're going to start to see, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see some adults also go through and file these sorts of lawsuits because once again, it's especially egregious that they did this to kids, but it's also bad that they're doing this to some adults.
Yes, yeah. Now it's like you said, it was picked up by the Post, but it's a local story for them right now. This is
Right.
a today thing. I did see it picked up by Deseret News, where I get a lot of news from there because they're kind of neutral
Right,
on their
right.
reportings.
But anyway, good news. It seems like things are heading towards logic and reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's largely where most people kind of really want it to be. They want there to be some logic and they want there to be some reason to stuff.
Yeah, and that would be that only adults can make these kinds of decisions. That should be the logical answer,
Well, and there also ought to be a level of analysis and a level of information provided before you make this, once again, life-altering decision. Because one of the things when you read the material and you read the websites, almost none of the negatives or the side effects of either the medications that they take are listed, right? When you talk about, for example, the surgery, when you go and you read about the surgery specifically, it does, but not as a part of the whole, gender transitioning. Like, there's no mention of the fact that once you get that double mastectomy, if you change your mind, if you ever decide to have kids, there's no way you're breastfeeding. That's done, right? That's just, they may be able to cosmetically replace and make it look appear that you have breast, but there's no way they can bring back or make it so that you can actually produce milk anymore.
No, they've taken those glands out. They're gone.
Exactly. When it comes to the medications, they don't tell you that in many cases it causes sterility. One of the known side effects. If you start taking it too young when you're still going through the puberty process, it can actually cause osteoporosis, meaning a brittling of the bones. Where you can easily break bones. Once again, this is something that you don't hear a lot about. So there's going to be, once again, this is all stuff that they're supposed to do as people who are supposed to be following the Hippocratic Oath, that they're supposed to be doing, that they're just not. And I'm just like this. Your body, your choice. You make that decision, but I want you to have all the information before you make that choice, right? I want you to have accurate information before you make that choice.
Right.
It's called informed consent.
Right, and you can't do that on a contract anywhere else in this country unless you're of legal age.
Exactly. Funny how that works, huh? All right, the next big... I don't really mean this to be a big story. I only mean this to be a big story because so many things are looking so bad for the left in America right now that they only really have one thing that they can keep harping on, and I've seen this over and over and over again, and that is the Epstein files. They keep coming back over and over again. What about the Epstein files? What about the Epstein files? Why is he covering up for pedophiles? I'm like, they completely ignore the fact that Joe Biden was president for 4 years, was in possession of the Epstein files for 4 years. Not one Democrat had cared one word about it. Until, of course, President Trump became president, and then, wait. President Trump knew him. Forget the fact that all these Democrats knew him. President Trump may have known him 20 plus years ago. Anyway, then they're on him about releasing all of the files and yada, 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 yada. Well, guess what? All of the files, or at least 3.5 million responsive pages, have been released in compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Let me read a little bit of this here. It says, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the Department of Justice published over 3 million additional pages responsive to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was signed into law by President Trump November 19th, 2025. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to make very clear about this. Number one, Epstein, or Epstein was very well known, and a lot of folks knew him. He, in particular, spent a lot of time hanging out with, and one of the things we're starting to see, his names are coming out. A lot of the people who knew him were Democrats. Another one of the interesting things is that Trump's name is mentioned. It's mentioned multiple times, and mostly it's mentioned in the ways of some rando calling just before the election, calling DOJ and saying, well, I heard a rumor from a friend whose cousin said that they may have thought that Donald Trump was out on Epstein's island. That was the overwhelming majority of the mentions that were included of Donald Trump. And then on top of that, even when he did, and by the way, yes, they did have, I don't know how close of a relationship it was, but they did know each other. They were familiar with one another. And Donald Trump did end the relationship in 2003 because of the allegations against, or I don't know if it was because of the conviction or the allegations of sexual misconduct by Mr. Epstein. I think it was because he was trying to get some of Mar-a-Lago's employees, some of the underage employees, over to Epstein's island. But in any case, he knew he was a dirtbag, so therefore he ceased being associated with him. And even when he was associated with him, that was when he was mostly hanging out with Democrats. I'm done.
Yeah, and listen, billionaires, you know who they hang out with, Craig? They hang out with other billionaires, because it's the only body that can understand, it's the lifestyles, they just, the same experiences, same kind of thing. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. As soon as, DJT found out that this guy was a pervert down there in South Florida, he just cut him off. Not only did he cut him off, barred him from ever returning to his property again. And not just his house, the entire club, the entire facility, stuff that Trump wouldn't even be at every day.
Right. But once again, the thing is, Mike, is that all they have is the Epstein file. It's literally, and by the way, that's the reason why no one will ever be satisfied about it, because, all right, so they released 3 million things. Well, where's the stuff that points fingers at other people? Or what about this? Or what about that? Why isn't it easily searchable? It's like, well, wait a minute. We in less than 30 days, we went through and tried to review 3 million documents and videos.
Yeah. I heard Dan Bongino on his podcast talking about it. He said that it was one of the things when he got there, that he was part of or in charge of one of the people. And when they got there to look at the files, Craig, it was as if like they opened up a storage container and just threw everything in there page by page. For years, there was zero organization, zero cataloging. It was literally just all junk in a room, in a building that nobody had done. Done nothing like you would expect the FBI or any legitimate law enforcement investigative agency to document and their progress on an investigation. He said it was hard. He just came short of saying it was purposely filed that way, so it would take years to go back through.
Well, because they never intended to engage in an investigation. The point was they could say, we've got this stuff, but they never intended to actually do any investigation. And by the way, I still happen to believe that if there was any documentation or there was any evidence that actually proved anything, I'm still of the belief that it's already gone.
Yeah. And if there had been anything to incriminate the president, it would have been front page for 4 years.
Right.
Biden administration would have gone after him every day.
There's no way you can look at what the Biden administration did go after him for. The degree to which they did seek to prosecute him, there's no way to believe that if there was something incriminating there, they wouldn't have gone after him. Absolutely, positively not. They're just you have no credibility. If that is something that you believe and you ignore that very salient fact, there's absolutely, you have no credibility. You just need to shut up. Just shut.
Agreed.
But that will not stop many of them, sadly. More evidence of winning. Now, I'll be honest. This was one area that I did not know how Trump was going to work to make this happen. But hey, I just figured eventually it would start to happen. But they have been able to look at, and now they're recognizing that rents are coming down, and experts are tying it to reduced migration. That's right. The shutting down the border and getting rid of folks who are using basically government dollars, right? Because they're getting government dollars in order to pay for housing in some of the most expensive places in the country. Yeah, well, now that they don't have those government dollars and those government grants, those government handouts, the rents are now coming back down to where people are starting. Well, I don't know if they can afford them yet, but they're at least getting more affordable. And this being reported by Breitbart, nationwide rent declines as border enforcement reduces migration. White House spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt touted the nationwide decline in rents amid President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration and before the November midterm elections. Here we go. Okay, the national median rent in January was $1,353, a drop of 1.4% compared with one year ago. CNBC.com reported January 29th. It was reportedly the lowest January rent since 2022. Rents are now 6.2% lower than their last peak in the summer of 2022. White House released a statement celebrating the drop in rents nationwide and crediting Trump's comprehensive approach to housing, increasing supply, reducing bureaucratic barriers, and empowering builders to meet demand. Emphasis. Okay, here we go. Citing positive reports from multiple states, including California, Texas, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, and Idaho. The decline in rents is a boom for young American citizens because it helps them leave their parents' houses, socialize with their peers, and save for future house purchases before starting their own families. That is a long-term gain for the GOP, which benefits when Americans form their own families. And I say that this is especially another boon, and one other area that they don't really talk about is if I can rent, if the rents are going down, that means that there's going to be less of a demand for new houses, which means less of a demand for new houses, which means housing prices should start to come down.
Yeah, this is an easy math problem, Craig.
Right.
Why people are so confused by this. It's ridiculous. Listen, in addition to what you mentioned, you take away, 1 million people that were living in, public housing or Section 8 housing or low funded housing, low cost area housing, because that's where these immigrants were living. Because let's face it, they were here on public assistance, so that's where they were staying because they got the vouchers to go there. You get rid of those areas, and that frees up 1 million low cost places to go live. Well, you do that, Craig, and all the other people that are supply and demand. Oh, you want to move into my apartment complex? It's $2,000 a month. Well, crap, nobody's wanting to move in here anymore. Better lower the rent to $1,500. This is easy math, and you're going to see, just like you said, the exact same thing coming with the housing problem.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, positively, no doubt. The other thing is there was something they were saying like 47% of the increase in homelessness in the last few years was illegal immigrants, I'm sorry, they didn't call them illegal immigrants. They called them asylum seekers.
Oh yeah, there you go. Asylum seekers. Yeah.
But what that's telling you is that, well, these are people who are now living in, they were living in homeless shelters, right? And they were getting the government assistance to get them into places to live. Well, guess what? Now that they're leaving, and we had, I think so far over 1 million or somewhere around 2 million have self-deported.
Yeah.
And that's not including the 600,000 that have been deported by the Trump administration.
Assisted deportations, we call it.
Assisted deportations. So by the way, I realized I have to redo my math because because I was operating when I talked about how many like violent criminals have been removed from the US, I was using the number of 200,000 total, and they said 5%. And I'm still wondering, I'm like, well, so that means 10,000 violent criminals have been removed from the streets of the United States. Why are y'all arguing against that? And then I realized, and we got the number is actually 600,000. Well, Mike, that means that 30,000 violent, let me say that again, violent criminals, rapists, murderers, strong arm robbers, child molesters have been removed from the streets of the United States of America. And the left hates it.
And again, Craig, that's the assisted deportations, not the self deportations.
Right. Exactly. We don't know how many child molesters just decided, really,
Yeah,
I better get out of here before I wind up in some El Salvadorian prison.
that's right. That's right. Yep.
Anyway, so anyway, that's big things right there. That is big things happening right there. And he won't get credit for it. Now, and this is what so gets me. It's like I'm arguing with people. I don't argue with people online anymore. Well, I do. I have to admit, I do just argue with people online on the left. But I get them like,
That's
well,
called
the
trolling.
economy's. I'm like, the economy's horrible. I'm like, I guess because when I hear just like completely and utterly wrong things, I just have a hard time. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, inflation is down, productivity is up, rent costs are down, cost of gas is down, unemployment is holding steady. What is your problem? I mean, how do you just
Gas, milk, and eggs. Follow gas, milk, and eggs.
Woosah.
Gas, milk, and eggs. I bought a dozen eggs this past week, Greg, because I
Woosah.
forgot to grab them. A dozen
Uh-huh.
eggs from a convenience store, from a 7-Eleven for under $3 for a dozen.
Well, I don't get it. Well, first of all, you live in America. Part of the challenge I have with people in California is that they don't realize that some things are more expensive here than other places. And so
No.
while everyone else is
Everything.
experieing while
Everything's
other
more
people are experiencing, the dropping prices and they're experiencing the economic boom, we're not, because employers are leaving California in droves. I mean, Mike, how bad is it that so Wells Fargo gets 20% of their revenue from their wealth management division, and they've moved their wealth management division out of California because wealthy people are leaving.
Go figure, huh?
And for those of you who are like, well, fine, I don't care about the wealthy, let me just tell you, in California, the overwhelming majority of our budget is dependent on wealthy people paying taxes. If they are not here to pay taxes, then y'all who maybe think you're not wealthy, you become the new wealthy in the state of California.
I saw a couple of stories over the weekend. There were some people that have left California, middle to upper income, and
Mhm.
California is still going after them for taxes for next year. They want their taxes.
Oh yeah,
And
they're going after from tax. They're actually, what they're doing is they're auditing them, and they're saying you need to provide evidence that you have actually moved and left the state. And
Yeah.
because let's be honest, there's nothing more mobile than a rich man and their money. All I got to do is, hey, look, if I can buy a house in another state, right, and then register to vote there, and then that's where I can live financially. I can still keep my house here.
Yep.
Right. There are wealthy people who are doing that. And by the way, they can afford the lawyers to provide you with all the paperwork you need, state of California.
Yeah. I know, like the state of Texas and I believe Florida as well. They're getting involved in it. Like, all right, California, deal with us over it. They're our citizens.
Right. Well, because once again, they just realized, well, hey, this is as the state of California is considering a wealth tax where they want to go after wealthy people.
Yeah.
Right. They want to tell them, well, we're going to tax a percentage of your net worth. Now, once again, not realized actual cash, but your net worth. Well, since they started talking about a $1.5 trillion in wealth has left the state of California.
Yeah. Listen, as the Chinese say, rots a ruck.
Rots a ruck. I've never heard that one before. All right, next. You remember when during his inauguration speech, Mayor Mamdani decided he talked about the warmth of collectivism. Well, it turns out the warmth of collectivism, the problem is that usually ends in the death of its constituents. It says here 16 dead in NYC from warmth of collectivism. Mayor Zoran Mamdani scrapped his predecessor's policy of clearing street encampments to drive the homeless into indoor shelters. At least 16 people had died outdoors in New York City after the winter storm and days of sub-freezing temperatures, intensifying scrutiny of Mayor Zoran Mamdani, his handling of the cold snap and his decision to halt the removal of the homeless encampments. The death toll climbed to 16, Mamdani announced Monday, and hypothermia played a role in at least 13 of the deaths. 14 New Yorkers died from Hurricane Ida in 2021. Mamdani announced in December that he would drop former Mayor Eric Adams's policy of clearing homeless encampments and encouraging people to go into shelters, saying the displacement was ineffective. Critics argue the reversal left the homeless vulnerable when temperatures plunged. And I would probably probably say the critics were, I don't know, right?
Listen, as a New York City expat, I can tell you there's a couple of things that happen in New York every year. When the winters come, they get rid of the homeless encampments. That way they don't die in your streets. It's the way it goes. They push them into the shelters because they don't want anybody dying, freezing out there on the streets. When you're as ignorant as, Zoltan there, this is what happens. And by the way, everybody that is in government there that disagrees with them is doing the slow walking silent protest. I don't know if you've seen the videos of the snow removal or the giant mountains of trash bigger than buildings that are going on. They're in 1 month they're fed up with his policies and let him figure it out. I doubt this guy lasts a full term, Craig.
Well, just goes to show you that all things that sound good ain't good.
No. Was good on his high school communist socialism paper,
Well, see, the one thing that you learn if you study communism is people die. It is the communism has been the number one killer of, whether it was Mao, whether it was Stalin,
yeah.
whether it was Pol Pot, whether it was Hugo Chavez, whether it was Maduro, whether it was Castro,
Trudeau.
Trudeau. There you go. Communists kill people.
Yep.
All right, folks, that brings us now to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word. This first one here is brought to you by, actually, two of them are going to be brought to you by our friends over at the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust. It says here, Tim Walz emerges from den to declare 6 more weeks of rioting and fraud.
Good old
today being Groundhog Day.
Tim Walz is the feminine version of Hillary Clinton.
The feminine version of Hillary Clinton, pretty much. Look, if you want to promote manhood, get rid of the jazz hands. Just saying. All right. Experts warn arresting journalists could be a slippery slope to arresting politicians and other people who deserve it.
What? No more protected classes?
No more protected classes like journalists. Oh, especially gay journalists. Anyway, this one you'll love. If you don't believe, by the way, that we are dealing with propaganda media, all you have to do is look at this meme. You want to describe this one for the folks, Mike?
What a great movie, by the way. They Live. Where they would take off the glasses or put the glasses on. They could see who the alien invaders were. Well, here you go. You got Preddy in his original pose there. Well, by the way, not even his original pose. They put the flag behind him for that one. And then they got him all buffed out, looking all masculine, holding a puppy and a kitten.
Yeah, man, there's so much stuff coming out about that dude, man. All of it's just that narrative is shot.
Yeah.
That narrative is shot. Okay, yeah. And then there's this last one. I love this guy. There are a few people who in reels can make a point so saliently in such a short period of time.
I don't know if you saw this, but in Minnesota, they're actually setting up these barriers and makeshift checkpoints in order to make sure ICE doesn't get in. Yeah, they are very concerned about borders and proper ID. Wait a second.
Yep. Yeah, you can't wear that mask in here. Yeah. What?
Wait, what? It's like, it's like they forgot It's like they think we forgot about them.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway. All right, folks. So that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we're going to do like we usually do and give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. AR barrels, more than you can ever imagine. They got them over there. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire. Like I said, you can also get any barrel or any rifle or any pistol, any shotgun that you need. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Public Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, they got it all. Get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Once again, please take a moment and visit our sponsors. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this program. And with that, we're going to call it another day. Great way to kick off the week with a bunch of solid stories and commentary. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It helps that we're done with the dense fog here in Sacramento. But yeah, we're starting to enjoy some like 60-degree weather. I mean, we're not Florida yet, but it's starting to get a lot more comfortable here.
Just got to get you a new governor, and then you'll be fine.
Yes, sirree, Bob. And with that, we will bid y'all a firm adieu. See y'all mañana.